Friends, welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's not difficult for you, but it's nice for me, and we're starting. It was a shock. When I pulled into the driveway, Maddie started crying and sobbing next to me in the car. I had to stop in the middle. I didn't want to run over Balthazar's head. He was lying on his side, staring at me unblinkingly. It occurred to me that I had never seen his eyes before, because he was always looking down at the baby Jesus. Maddie loved decorating. Every holiday, under any pretext. I was embarrassed several times when I came home for my birthday or anniversary, and the yard was full of streamers and posters announcing this event to the whole world. Any reason. Groundhog Day, St. Swithin's Day, Anglo-Saxon Bishop of Winchester and later patron saint of Winchester Cathedral. Damn, if she could find banners, then Tuesday would be enough to want to celebrate. But Halloween and Christmas were her nirvana in decorating. I couldn't park in the garage because of how much space her jewelry took up. I didn't like it, but it was her thing, and she was happy. That's how boxes with floor-to-ceiling decorations appeared, most of which were Christmas decorations. There were more and more of them every year. This year, a life-size nativity scene appeared, with the Magi, a donkey and a sheep, with a luminous angel above the parents, hovering over the baby Jesus. Greetings of Santa Claus with his sleigh and 8 reindeer could be heard from the roof, and snowmen and elves frolicked on the lawn. Every tree and bush had decorations and lights flashing in contrast to those on the eaves and around the windows of the house. And over the porch hung a large banner with the inscription, Merry Christmas. It all seemed a little vulgar and excessive to me, but I realized that, firstly, my opinion doesn't matter, and secondly, it's not even worth expressing it if I'm not ready to endure the ice age for the rest of the day and all night. But like I said, Maddie liked it. She was proud of it, and her greatest achievement was not, as I thought, our wonderful children, but the time when our house, or rather, its decorations, made the front page of the district newspaper with penny karma. Every year she tried to do even more, hoping to repeat this achievement. But this year it won't be, not the way she wanted it to be. Most likely, they will write about us in the newspaper, but only as victims of mass vandalism. The Merry Christmas sign was torn down and appears to have been trampled. The nativity scene seems to have been attacked with an axe. The decapitated Balthazar was the least of the damage inflicted. The rest of the figures were smashed beyond recognition, like Humpty Dumpty. The garlands on the house were torn off and piled on a bonfire lit by Santa Claus. There was probably roast venison, too, because there were no more deer in sight. We lived at the end of a long and empty cul-de-sac with only 5 neighbors. We were at the very end of a winding street. But over the years our house has become a must-see on Christmas garland tours. Our house, alone in the dark, appeared in front of the cars as they drove along the curve of the street on a dark night. The house shone in all the dazzling splendor that Maddie had designed. People liked it. How did the assholes who did this find time for such a complete destruction? And how did they know we wouldn't be home tonight? It would be difficult for me to answer this question. It was obvious that the vandals had plenty of time to practice their destruction. I became convinced of this when I saw that the decorations on the trees were shot with balloons. With more than 100 decorations, it took some time. Although from the number of balls on the lawn and the marks of missed hits on the windows, I realized that they were using automatic or rapid-fire BB pistols, a type of pneumatic weapon designed to fire metal spherical projectiles called BB. I saw one piece of jewelry that they missed. Otherwise, the destruction was complete. Maddie was kneeling by the nativity scene while I called the police. Why? Why would someone do that? Why did they do this to me? I picked her up in my arms and carried her into the house, forcing her to throw the remains of the baby Jesus, which she was clutching to her chest. I sat her down with a cup of hot tea while we waited for the police. The police had the same questions as me. Considering how long it took to destroy, and the fact that bullies would have to climb onto our roof to destroy Santa, how could they guarantee themselves enough time to commit such complete destruction? To begin with, who knew we wouldn't be home tonight? I explained that our daughters had gone skiing, and we were at my company's Christmas party in the ballroom of the Pierpont Hotel. It was a big event, but apart from my colleagues and our daughters, I didn't tell anyone about our plans for the evening. The patrolman looked at my wife with the same question, but Maddie, still heartbroken, could only shake her head. The patrolman's partner returned after interviewing our neighbors and reported that a large van had been parked on our street for a long time that evening. There was a magnetic plaque on it advertising a catering company, a company that provides catering services for various levels of events, from office lunch delivery to banquet service, which, as further investigation showed, was fake. The neighbor who saw him thought we were getting ready for a party and didn't pay much attention to it. Neither the brand of the van nor the license was remembered. The policeman sympathized with us, but felt that there was no evidence, and he would not be able to take any action other than filing a report in case we wanted to claim insurance. Before he left, the front windows lit up with flashes. It turned out that the local press had recorded the damage. Newspapers will decorate our house and Maddie's decorations again. The evening started so promisingly. Maddie was in a great mood, flirtatious as usual. We've been stagnating for the last year. Irritable and sullen. I felt like I was married to a porcupine. Any attempt to touch her would result in a bite. I couldn't figure out what I could have done, but something had thrown our relationship out of whack. Maddie was only 39 years old, but I thought she might be going through early menopause. Wanting to keep all my body parts intact, I resisted the urge to ask her about it, but it remained my best guess. I decided to give her the space she might need to adjust to her changes. In June, when this space included her request to move into a guest room, I restrained my anger and agreed to give her the bedroom. I felt that she was slipping away, but I tried to be patient and understanding. This weekend started well. Installing all these decorations, with a new full-size and expensive nativity scene as an addition this year, seemed to put Maddie in a great mood. My wife has returned, the happy, flirtatious girl I was once married to. While preparing for a party in my company, she even stopped and kissed me, a kiss that promised something more later that evening. She batted her eyelashes and invited me to move my toiletries back to the master bathroom. At the corporate party, Maddie danced like a 20-year-old, graceful, radiant with her beauty and the love she showed me. It stunned me. After a year of abuse, suddenly, my loving wife was back in my arms. Loving me. Just me. I couldn't figure out what had happened. It was like an emotional blow. After a year of shit, I was finally ready to move on. And now this change of mood. Maybe she was prescribed hormone therapy? Maddie usually emptied the trash cans in the house. But in early October, she left to buy a new nativity scene when I noticed a full basket in the bathroom in the hall. I took a trash bag and went around the house emptying the trash cans to save my wife the trouble. When I entered the master bathroom for the first time in almost 4 months and emptied the trash can, it turned out that Maddie hadn't gone through menopause. She was clearly menstruating. After examining the bathroom, I found round birth control pill wrappers in her drawer near the sink. 3 packages, with 1 tablet left in the top. The prescription was written out in the last week of January. I decided that this must be the third 3-month dose. 9 months of birth control. 9 months since she pushed me away. It's been 5 months since she kicked me out of our bedroom. 9 months of patient understanding. 9 months of celibacy, until my wife, who had always avoided contraceptives, suddenly discovered the need for them. 9 months. Well, at least it wasn't 9 months pregnant. I'm so damn stupid. I was banging on the sink in anger and frustration. How could Maddie do this to me? I looked at myself in the mirror and forced myself to calm down. Was my wife cheating on me? If so, why is she so mad at me if she's cheating on me? I needed to think it over carefully. When I was done with the trash, I sat down at my computer. I had questions that needed to be answered. Number 1. Can a woman have periods during menopause? The answer is no. However, I have found that menopause is diagnosed when a woman has not menstruated for a full 12 months. So that's not the answer. She may be skipping months, which is similar to menopause, but not completely yet. But it can be a so-called pause. Number 2. Can contraceptives be used to regulate or mitigate menopause? Yes, birth control pills can help manage some of the symptoms of menopause and perimenopause, but they should not be used in place of hormone replacement therapy, HRT. So what's going on? After searching the internet, I found information about perimenopause. After reviewing the symptoms, I found many suitable ones. Mood swings. There is. She had never been such a bitch before. Changes in love desire. There is, and there is. Problems with concentration or memory. Not that I noticed. She remembered everything I had ever done wrong. Headaches. I have. I'm not sure about her. Night sweats. Maybe that's why she kicked me out of bed. Maybe. Hot flashes. Only outbursts of anger. After a year, how should I know? Sleep problems. Maybe. Then again, maybe that's why she kicked me out of the bedroom. I wanted to scream. I just need answers, but the damn questions keep piling up. I decided that I would be patient for a little longer, but now I will be attentive. My wife has always been a housewife, ever since the children were born. Now that they went to school and became independent enough, her time was more or less free. She had a housekeeper twice a week, and 2 or 3 times a week we had takeaways because the kids loved pizza and Mexican food, and Maddie and I loved Indian, Thai, and Chinese. On other days, she cooked dinner. Except on Saturdays, we had breakfast on our own and usually cooked our own lunches. So she had a lot of free time. She performed the biggest and most time-consuming tasks herself. Decorations for the holidays. Indeed, there are too many decorations for the holidays. But it was important to her. Over the years, it has become not only a serious investment of her time, but also a serious financial investment. Animatronics, dolls in the form of people, animals, or other creatures controlled by an operator either manually or by remote control, dominated her Halloween displays, and Santa and his sleigh made noise half the night before the timers turned them off. And that's not to mention the flashing hearts on Valentine's Day, jumping bunnies on Easter, or the constant fireworks and lights that twinkled all through June until July 4th. We lived at the secluded end of a long cul-de-sac. No one saw most of her performances, except for those who were in the know and attended them on Halloween or Christmas. I admit that she had her fans on these 2 holidays, but on other holidays we definitely didn't need any traffic controller to help guide the crowds. But every year more decorations were added to each holiday. I don't want to talk nonsense. The fact is that I realized how much free time my wife has now that the children have grown up. I started coming home at odd hours during the day. Not too often. My job does not allow me to leave the office often. My presence is necessary. But I went out often enough to realize that Maddie wasn't spending time at home. When she was questioned, her porcupine quills practically flew across the room at me with angry remarks. My random questions were perceived as an interrogation. Besides, she always had a reason for being away. She almost always justified herself by saying that she was in search of new jewelry. It was too much for me. I needed help. I turned to a private investigator, deciding that I could use our vacation fund. Since Maddie didn't seem to be in the mood for a vacation, if someone had been following her for, say, a week, I would certainly have found out what was going on. But when I talked to the private investigation agency, they informed me that surveillance would cost $150 per hour, and any additional costs, travel, parking, etc., would be added to them. If you consider that I left Maddie alone for at least 8 hours a day, it turned out to be $1,200 per day and $6,000 per week, only from Monday to Friday. The vacation fund couldn't stand it in any way. I thought maybe I should ask a friend or neighbor to look after my wife instead. I thought about it for 60 seconds before I dropped the idea. That is, first there is the problem of finding a friend you trust and who has time to keep an eye on someone. All my friends who don't work are slackers. They're great friends, but they're definitely not the ones you'd hire, and I wouldn't trust them with their own wife, let alone mine. And the friends I would trust have jobs, and they can't waste time spying on my wife in case she turns out to be a cheater. Neighbors, in general, fall into the same category. The only one who stays at home all day is the old pervert from the house across the street. The ladies on the block stopped inviting him to a barbecue after a big-boobed blonde complained 4 houses down that he literally slobbered on her while she was in a bikini at a pool party. I've never seen anyone so disgusted when she wiped her breasts with a dry towel. There's no way I'd set him on my wife. Even I thought he was creepy, but I'm a guy. After all, I didn't need to keep an eye on her at all. A week before the Christmas party, Maddie's computer broke down. For some reason, I knew it would be my fault, because, damn it, I bought it for her. But she was very nice to me. She asked me to fix it. She was almost loving. When Maddie went to her gym, I agreed to take a look at him. It didn't take long to discover that the rootkit virus had destroyed several key files of the boot track. I exorcised the malware from the computer, restored the missing files, and the computer booted up immediately. Out of curiosity, I clicked on her email. I know Maddie, and I know she doesn't have the patience to enter her name and password every time she wants to log into her email. Of course, it opened immediately. The last letters were all I needed to make my heart break. Please, please, please don't do this, read the headline of the most recent email received from JimmyLove69. The next three were also from JimmyLove69. I love you. Don't leave me. You don't love him. And the oldest, what do you mean? It's over? I didn't even have to read the letters. I figured it out anyway. She left me, and now she was leaving her lover, JimmyLove69. She had someone new in line. Later, I thought I should go back even further and look through her sent emails to find out that she said JimmyLove69, and maybe find out who she went to. But I was so depressed that I just turned off the computer. I loved my wife wholeheartedly. I waited a whole year, like a dumb cuckold, while she had who knows how many lovers. Was Jimmy the first, fifth, or 50th? Did it matter to me? I couldn't breathe and couldn't hold back the tears. What I could do was start planning my departure. Maddie didn't make it easy for me. I think I must have made my decision to leave clear, because suddenly she became a worried wife again. I ignored the hints to return to our bedroom, citing the approaching illness. My excuses were the same as hers about being unwell, but apart from a disappointed look, she didn't insist that I return to her bed. And, God knows, at that moment I had no time for squelching leftovers. When the police left, Maddie looked at me again and asked, "Why would someone do this to me?" I sipped my tea and, looking into the cup, casually asked in response, "Do you think Jimmy did it?" The quiet sobbing stopped, and when I looked up, Maddie was staring at me, wide-eyed and terrified. Do you know about Jimmy?" "Yes, I know. He emailed me all about your great love." I contemplated the steam rising from my cup. He wouldn't do that to me. He loved me. Maddie wiped her nose with a napkin and then began, "Honey, he was a mistake." I thought, "It doesn't matter. It's a mistake. You thought you were in love. It doesn't matter." "That's what it is," I said sullenly. "But he really didn't feel love when he wrote to me about your big romance." "And what did you do? Dumped him for some other guy?" "I told him it was over. I told him. So you crushed him, and he wanted to hurt you back. That's what people with a broken heart do. They get angry and hit you in a sore spot." I got up and headed for the garage. "That's why I think Jimmy did it. I guess in some perverse way he thinks he's going to get you back." "Where are you going?" "Jimmy and we're done. It's over. I promise." Maddie jumped up and grabbed my arm, holding me in place. I shook it off and continued on my way to the garage. "Yes, it's over. It's over between us. You've been treating me like shit for a year. And why? So you can use fucking Jimmy. Well, he can have you." "No, no. I love you. It was all a mistake. Last New Year's Eve, I saw you kissing Melinda. I saw her rubbing against you, and I was so angry, so sure you were using her." She fell to her knees. "I only met Jimmy to pay you back. And last week, I ran into Melinda, and she apologized to me. She said she attacked you, but you pushed her away. She said she was drunk and didn't realize it was you. She couldn't catch her breath because she was sobbing." I opened the garage door and started carrying the packed suitcases next to her jewelry boxes into my car. "I didn't know. As soon as I found out, I broke up with Jimmy. It was all a mistake. You were welcome. You could talk to me. You could have asked me. But no. Your answer was debauchery. Was Jimmy the only one? Or the 50th? I loaded the suitcases in the trunk. Don't answer that. I don't care. Our marriage is like your Christmas decorations. Destroyed. Shredded. Destroyed." As an argument for me to stay, she screamed that she loved me. I pulled out of the driveway, swerving slightly to run over the head that I had removed from the road when we were returning home. "Bye-bye, Balthazar."